So death is something that is very interesting to deal with when working at the IRS. I did encounter it several times during my tenure there. The first several times were when I worked in the call center and I'd receive calls, and Social Security and the IRS, their systems work together. So if someone is born, they receive a Social Security number, they die, and they have a date of death, Social Security does provide that information to the IRS, and the systems get updated. When someone's address changes, that information does get provided then to Social Security. They do work together and communicate. Back at that time, they both used magnetic tape to store all their information, so sometimes it could be slow to transfer information. They told us that it could be 4 to 8 weeks when there was an update for it to actually go through the system. In the call center, at times, people would call in and you have to verify their identity. And it does pop up, like you first ask for their social and you type in their social. And then it pops up with all of their information in the system, and that's what you use to verify they are who they are. And so you always have to do their name, their date of birth, their address. There's like a series of 5 or 7 questions that you have to ask this anonymous person on the phone. Occasionally it would pop up that there was a date of death as well. So then it gets really weird trying to verify this person is who they say they are, because sometimes, this person that you're talking to on the phone sounds like they're in their 20s or 30s, yet the date of birth shows that this person would have been in like their 80s or 90s, and there's a date of death. So you know that someone is calling in who is not the person. So you just have to be very careful. And when you get feelings like that, that is definitely not the person, you assume the date of death is correct. You don't continue the call. You say that you cannot provide this information. They need to go in person and provide an identification in order to get the information they need. Or they need to get a power of attorney or do something else in order to, get information about this taxpayer. And I can't confirm their identity at this time. Well, there were a couple of times where the people, they sounded like they would be the right age, and they were able to answer all the questions. And I'd ask like 10 or 15 questions about their tax return, about the account, everything I could think of to just, verify it was really them. And there was still a date of death. And so there are times where, Social Security can mess it up, and it can, show a date of death when that wasn't the case. And in those cases, we had to recommend that they take, whatever proof they have that they're alive, like themselves, their IDs and everything, and go to the Social Security office and try and get that resolved. I still wouldn't give anything about the account, but I did inform them that there's a date of death, and once it gets fixed, then they should call back and get the information they were asking for. And that is kind of a weird thing. Occasionally, the dates of birth can also get messed up, and then those have to be fixed as well. That is one of the key pieces of information that people always know about themselves, and so it's very important that the IRS has that correct, as well as the person calling in. I'm going to do a part 2 and possibly a part 3 on actual taxpayers I encountered while auditing that did end up passing away.